Hi there. My name is David Merrill, and I'm a bankruptcy attorney in West Palm Beach with the firm of Ozment Merrill. We're a bankruptcy firm that handles Chapter 7s, 11s, 13s, and 12s, and we're involved with most aspects of bankruptcy law in general. In addition, I also handle cases that are called adversary proceedings, which is a lawsuit in the bankruptcy court, and have had this practice, even though we're based in West Palm Beach and have an office in West Palm Beach. This practice is one that I enjoy throughout the state of Florida, and in fact, throughout the southeastern United States. While my partner Drake Ozment handles matters that involve consumer cases such as Chapter 7s and 13s, my practice is focused primarily on Chapter 11s, where you'll see sometimes it's individuals with complex business matters, but very often what we're dealing with, and more often, are businesses. And our firm has handled matters that, in the construction industry, real estate, manufacturing, healthcare, mostly privately held companies, but also publicly traded companies as well. Chapter 13 cases are limited. They used to be known colloquially in bankruptcy circles as mini 11s. Prior to the time that they were codified in 1978, you would try to take a Chapter 11 reorganization and fit it onto an individual situation. And why would you do that? Well, in Chapter 7s, Chapter 7 cases last about 3 to 5 months typically. They can last as long as 2 years. But the bottom line is that what happens if you have fallen behind in your home mortgage payments? Well, a Chapter 7 case doesn't erase the amount of debt that you were owed prior to filing the case. You still owe that. Well, how's that going to save your house? Well, in a Chapter 13 case, basically you take that amount and you spread it out over a 5-year period of time, almost always interest-free. If someone's owned a house for a very long time, it might not be, but that's a rare circumstance anymore. And the bottom line is that you can then make your regular payments, and you can get caught up on your Chapter 13 payments, and it's a great result for you and for the bank, frankly, because you're able to get caught up in a fashion that under their guidelines and under the regulations that they have to abide by, they wouldn't ordinarily be able to agree to, but there'll be a court order that requires them to, and that's a great result for everyone. Interestingly enough, in Chapter 13, sometimes that's an appropriate chapter to file in a situation where, as in a Chapter 7, there aren't enough exemptions to protect all of those assets. So what you end up with is a situation where instead of losing those assets in a 7, you can pay for them in a Chapter 13 case. Now that's a great result as well. You get to keep those things that you have a lot of attachment to. Perhaps it's a family heirloom. Maybe you've got a baseball card or something, a baseball card collection, I should say, that you like. But you don't have to have that sold just because of something that occurred in your life, like perhaps you got in an accident or there were medical issues or whatever the situation may have been. But you also don't have to be unfair to creditors and not pay them at least the value of what that would have been. So that's a situation where 13 is used as well. Now, I mentioned earlier that 13 used to be called a mini 11, and in many respects it still is. This is because in Chapter 13 there are limits to the amount of debt that you owe. The bottom line to those limits is that if you exceed them, then you need to be in a Chapter 11 case. Now, before I go into a Chapter 11 in more detail, I should also point out that since 2005, some people who earn substantial income are no longer eligible to file a Chapter 7, and they are required to file a Chapter 13 and use their income and earnings to be able to pay creditors back more than they would have been paid in a Chapter 7 case. That's something that we can go over with you in your free consultation with us, but it's also something that you should be aware of, at least in becoming more knowledgeable about what bankruptcy is all about. This is David Merrill again, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you for taking the time to look through and watch the different information that we have for you on Chapter 11s and other chapters in bankruptcy. Drake and I at Ozment Merrill are happy to talk to you about any of these matters, and in fact, we offer an initial consultation that is free and would invite you to call us at 561-689-6789 at your convenience. We'll be happy to meet with you and talk about whatever the specific situation that you're facing is. Have a great day.